It is lovely to be chatting with you both this morning.
Hi,
Hi,
Rachel.
how are you?
I am fabulous. I hope you both are doing so well on this wonderful day about this wonderful, wonderful show that is just beautiful and nuanced, and especially your relationship. It's beautiful, and there's so much depth to it. So, like, what was it kind of like having that dynamic between you two? Like, did you gel together immediately? Like, how was that?
What do you think? Did we?
Oh, it's so awful. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really hated each other. This was the biggest
Really?
acting in my
No,
life.
right back at you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was
No,
horrible.
honestly,
Yeah, I'm not saying that just because you said it. It
no,
was
no, I'm
really,
right back at you. We absolutely
no,
adore each other. We had
yeah,
so much fun. It was so easy.
yeah.
I
And
love
it just
that.
made, like ending the show that hard because
Yeah, we were just like
such a good, I don't know, like,
so sad,
yeah,
Sharif.
I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like I can't spoil that ending because that ending is just it's so good. And I'm so excited to see people because I had never heard of this book prior to
Oh,
this.
good. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, not good, but like it's cool. It's cool, I think, when people, come into it blind.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was like, I had no idea, and we're going through this, and I'm like, oh, okay, I love a good scandal, like I
Yeah.
love,
Mhm.
I love Pretty Little Liars, love Gossip Girl, like all of those little things. So I'm like, this is a different kind of scandal. I really enjoyed it. So kind of
Yeah.
like, what was it like being able to work off of that existing source material? Had you heard of the book before being cast in this, or was this totally new
Yeah.
to you as well?
Yeah, we read the book before we started working on the show. I read it while we were auditioning. That's when we read it, and it kind of helped so much for me in the audition process. Just understand the story better, the character better, and just it was in just so much help. Yeah,
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I read the pilot and
Mhm.
then I was like, this is really interesting and really fun and very juicy. Like I could read a whole book on this. Where is this going? And so I was in London and I picked up the book and I read the whole thing in one sitting and so did you, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
binged it. Binge read it.
It kind of
Is that
makes
a
you want
thing?
to just finish it in one go. You kind of want to know
Yeah,
what happens. You
it's
keep turning
just
the page. And,
because you also know, right? So there's something really cool about the fact that we have this that there's this whole mystery around the book in general. And I kind of really like to see that people don't, I mean, some people might ruin it online, but from what I've seen, like a lot of people don't, and they try
Yeah.
not to spoil it. And so you're reading the book and you're kind of just like, where is this going? How is this going to change or divert from this beautiful, idyllic story, love story, you know?
Yeah.
And and it kind of just shocks you. So it
yeah.
was really cool. So the source material was really great to have.
Mhm.
Yeah, and especially because, ultimately it's not just a story about like it's not just a love story, it's also kind of like a story about like privilege and grief along with family dynamics. So there's so many different layers to it, and all of the cast is fantastic. Everybody kind of like it's such a great family dynamic that they managed to
Yeah.
come up with.
Yes.
So I want to ask, since this involves a scandal among, a popular wealthy family, are there any like scandals in history that you find fascinating? Like, it doesn't have to be related to this, just like any sort of scandal.
Uh, so many good scandals. Let's see. Hmm. I
There's
don't
too many.
know.
There's
I don't know. There's some that I want to say, but I don't want to support, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
yeah. True.
No,
But
that's
I love a good scandal. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
yeah. We all love a good scandal, and depending on, whether it's a good scandal or not.
Or
So,
a bad scandal.
or a
Usually
bad
not great.
scandal. So,
Yeah.
at least this story is kind of like a good scandal. Like it could,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
I mean, I think that you have the Succession, the
Yeah.
family that was it's the Murdoch family.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think that they have just such a crazy story and talk about scandal, and I think that that was a really big reference here for the Sinclairs, because Harris Sinclair, played by David Morse,
Hmm.
who's absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
Um, they come from a media empire, so they come from a newspaper empire. So there's kind of like, I don't know, hints of that in it, and that's one of my favorite shows. So it was really it was cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for chatting with me
Yeah.
today. I'm
Thank
very
you.
excited for everybody to get to see this, especially those like me who had never read the book. So thank you both again, and congrats on the show and everything.
So
Thank
much.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
Very happy to be chatting with you
Hi.
both. I hope you're well.
Good morning,
Thank
you
you.
too.
Good morning. So, first off, this is a crazy, crazy story, and it is a wild ride from start
Mm.
to finish. So, were either of you familiar with the book prior to starting this project, or did you read it kind of like after to get a feel of it?
I read it after I'd been cast. I'd read the first two episodes of the show, and then when I got cast, read the book and was like, "Oh my God, that's what's gonna happen!" It was too late then to get off the ride. But yeah,
Yeah, that would have been
Like
it
blocked
was,
shocking.
it.
yeah, it
Because the two
it was
first
a lot.
episodes do not, you do not
No,
know.
no, you don't.
You're like the viewer
I
of the
was like, this is like a
show.
fun summer romp show. Boy, does it take a
No,
turn.
I read the book because I'd heard Karina McKenzie and Julie Plec just talking about this book so much and how they wanted to bring it to the screen. And by the time they had it optioned, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's happening. They'd wanted to do this for like a decade. So
Yeah,
I was so excited for them that I read the book and found myself bawling my eyes out on an airplane, as one does. It's the best place to cry.
it
Bathrooms and
is.
airplanes, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, and I just couldn't be more thrilled to be a part of it.
yes. So, having like being familiar with it before this, do you think that that was like, was it kind of intimidating then to start playing in this as a character from a book that, made you cry that you really loved?
I think more intimidating for the writers and
Yeah. Yeah.
showrunners and just to because it's a big story to pull off
Mm.
and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I do think that they did. I mean, I think I'm partial, but I
Yeah.
think they did.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the book is so beloved, so we definitely felt a responsibility to the fans and to make it true to the story, but
Yeah.
everybody really cared about that, and I think we did our job. We hope.
Yes. No, it's good, and especially when you see an adaptation that is kind of as faithful as this one is to the source material, I feel like there's so much kind of care that goes into it. Like when I was speaking with E earlier, like she was like super happy with it, really excited for everybody to see it. So I'm like, that's a good marker because, a lot of adaptations don't live up to the source material. And it seems like, because I've never heard of the book. I need to read the book now because I'm very interested. I love reading the adaptations after the fact. So
Mm.
yeah, so it's just really kind of cool to see that. So, like what did you enjoy most about inhabiting these characters, filming this like, crazy, lurid life that this wealthy family has?
I My favorite stuff was working with my two sisters. Those scenes really were the most fun I thought to shoot because the dynamics are so all over the place
Yeah.
and turn on a dime and are full of love and cruelty and humor and grief and just sort of every color, often within a couple of lines of each other. And we got to sing the Cranberries. Is that a spoiler?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
That's a good
Yeah.
tease.
Just a tease.
It is, yeah, it is a
bit of
good tease, so tease here.
We sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite. And also just shooting in Nova Scotia, which was so beautiful. We were in Nova Scotia for about
Yeah.
5 months, and what a magical place to get to spend some time. It's incredible.
Yeah, it seems like the setting on this is especially gorgeous. Like I love a nice little setting for these kinds of things. So ultimately it is a film not so much about, just the idyllic wealthy life, but it's about privilege and grief and family dynamics. So, was there any inspiration behind those kinds of dynamics that helped you in building these characters as you started playing them?
I feel like it was just so written on the page. I should probably have a better answer for that, but
No, that's a
it
good
was. I
answer.
mean, it's between,
Yeah.
I really do feel that, getting to know the backstory of the sisters, which is in the prequel and Family of Liars,
Yeah.
really set the tone for how these girls grew up. So you didn't have to like kind of create like what happened to them is like, why are they like this? You kind of saw the psychological roadmap of how they became
who they are, and we were liars. And you know, Emily Lockhart just is always just like, it's King Lear, you know, this is the story that we
True.
know
Yeah, yeah.
so
Yeah.
well, and that it's like that we just can't get enough of. And
Yeah.
timeless tragic tale.
Yeah, no, and that's a perfect answer because sometimes, people pull inspiration from things like when I was just talking earlier, it's like you mentioned Succession and how it's very like that family dynamic is very similar, but it's a good hallmark of a good writer that you're just like the page is my inspiration. So I'm very glad to see that. I'm very excited for people to see this show, and to get to the end and get to experience
Yeah.
that. No spoilers. So, congrats on the show. I'm excited. And thank you both for chatting with me today.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
We
Thanks,
are.
Rachel.
Thank
We
you. How
are.
you doing?
I'm here. I'm tired, but we're good. We're good. I'm excited to talk about a really great show that took me for a ride. I feel like is the best way to kind of describe how this was. So I had never heard of the novel prior to this. So I went into this blind, not really knowing what to expect, and was blown away by everybody's performances and just by the story in general. So were either of you familiar with this book prior to taking on this project, or did you read it after the fact?
I read it when I was first told that they were interested in talking to me, and
Yeah.
before I talked to them, I really wanted to read the book and read the scripts, so I knew what we were talking about. So it was great. Yeah, thanks.
When I Googled it, the book, I found out I didn't have pictures, and that's a no-go for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't read it. No, I didn't have time. I was a very last-minute addition, so I had to play catch-up on scripts as quick as possible. And my partner actually read it while I was reading the scripts and letting me know important context and things like that as we go along. So I have a lot to thank Alana for. So we attacked that character together that weekend.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's true. You were a late addition. So is that kind of intimidating for you to be like thrown
It's
in?
intimidating for them. No. It was, of course it is. Yeah, it's you're the new kid at school, right? And you don't know what you're walking into. There's obviously, I know that the cast had already, had their table reads and their first dinners and things like that. But also as an actor, sometimes, I've played a guest star where people have been together for 4 or 5 seasons and you show up on the day. So it's not like a huge intimidation thing. But fortunately the cast were like wonderful and lovely. And my first scene was a big group dinner scene. And it just felt like I was with them from the beginning. And
We were very happy when he arrived. He was a great addition when he got there. We weren't sure who was going to show up, and we got somebody great.
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad glad it all worked out. No, and
Yeah.
it's like you both have such like lengthy, careers where you play very different characters and you kind of have like all of these different dynamics. So how is it getting into these two characters for this show?
It's fun. It was, when we agree to do it, we agree to do it because there's something in there we're excited to do. And I love the beginning of a new project, whatever it is, of a movie or play, TV series, whatever it is. It just feels so full of possibility. You don't know what the people are going to be like. The world is going to be like. We knew it was going to be beautiful up there in Nova Scotia on the coast, and it was far exceeded what I expected. And it turned out just to be a great experience.
yeah, and I'm very sort of comfortable. It's not by design, but a lot of the things that I've worked on have been adaptations.
Yeah.
My first show, iZombie, was a graphic novel. The next thing we did was Blind Manor. That's obviously, Henry James. Henry Thomas was the actor. So that world is something I'm kind of comfortable with. I kind of get excited when there's an existing fan base that are looking forward to seeing these characters come to life, and that's always a big allure for me.
Yeah, so what are you most excited for about this existing fan base to see? Like obviously, no spoilers, but is there anything that you are really, really ready for them to be able to see on screen off the page?
Well, I think the first thing is did we nail it? Did we serve the fans? It's a real good indication to us. We know that E. Lockhart, Emily, who wrote the novels, was a part of this. Gave us her seal of approval constantly, and
I think the other thing is the book is told really from Cadence's point of view. It's a very sort of narrow storytelling. And in this, we got expand the whole world for these 8 episodes and all these other storylines and other characters, the liars, much more, the whole, it's just a richer experience. And I think the fans are going to love it for that.
Well, that's awesome. I really loved it. I feel like I need to watch it again just to kind of feel the whole scope of the thing. So I'm really excited for people who, like me, didn't know about it, kind of going into a blind, and then for the fans and to see the fans' reaction for it, because this really is a special piece of media, and it's gonna be really great to see what people think of it.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
thank you both so much for your time today. It was lovely getting to chat with you about this.
thank you,
Nice to
Rachel.
see you.
Likewise.
Thanks. Very
Bye,
nice
guys.
to meet you this morning.
You too.
So, this is a crazy, crazy story. And I feel like anybody who has not heard of the novel, which was unfortunately me, I didn't know it existed before this show. So, I'm excited for people to kind of experience it through the show. So, kind of like the process of getting that adapted, was that like a difficult one, or was that like a pretty straightforward process for you?
Well, We Were Liars was my most popular book
Mhm.
when it first came out 11 years ago. And so it has been in development for film or television for a really long time. And finally, Julie Plec and Karina Adley Mackenzie got hold of it. And their enthusiasm was so infectious, and they make such popular, bingeable, fun television full of, vampires and aliens. And they were ready to bring all of that sort of narrative energy to this story that's set on a private island about a bunch of teenagers, falling in love and getting into trouble.
Yeah, as one does. And I feel like there's so many, I can think of a bunch of different stories that kind of like follow this off the top of my head, but like yours is so unique in its twists and turns. So is there anything that like, seems like the show is a pretty faithful adaptation of the book. So was there anything that you were like really excited to get to see on screen, like, popping out of the page and seeing it for the first time?
Well, I wrote the finale, so I was most excited for the finale to be filmed and to see, the visuals that I imagined in the screenwriting process kind of come to life. But I cannot talk about the finale because I cannot spoil it.
Yeah. Obviously, we cannot bring spoilers into this for that, because I would be devastated if anybody got spoiled for that. So, yeah. Spoilers aside, though, like what was it like, kind of like how involved were you with the process? Like, you said you wrote the finale, like there are several other writers, like were you there kind of like giving the guidance for everything?
I No, all the guidance was from the showrunners.
Okay.
But I was part of the casting process. I worked on set and I worked in post production. And I'm most really excited for people to see our cast. Shabam Maheshwari, who plays Gat, the love interest, he came in through an open call. He auditioned just by like sending his picture in response to this open call that was in Backstage magazine, and he ended up landing the role. He's phenomenal. Emily Allen Lind, that people know from Gossip Girl, is the most like intelligent, entitled, storytelling, enthusiastic, tortured cadence that I know my readers really want to see on screen. She's such a complex character, and Lind is such a phenomenal actress.
Yes, she does. She does such a great job, and there are like some little details in there that I'm not gonna say so I don't spoil anything, that I really, really like that she did and that the showrunners decided to do. So it's just kind of like I love a good scandal, and I have to ask, is there any sort of scandal in history that you happen to be fascinated by?
Oh, You mean that's connected to the show?
No, just in general.
Oh, this is such a good question. Oh my God.
Oh no, I've thrown you for a loop.
You've thrown me for a terrible loop.
Oh no,
Um,
sorry.
yeah, I have no idea. No, I'm sorry. I feel
No,
terrible.
no, it's okay. It is kind of like one of those questions where you're either gonna know off the top of your head or
All
not.
right, here's an answer for you.
Okay.
Chappaquiddick. So there was a terrible accident in Chappaquiddick involving the Kennedy family. It was a tragedy. It was also a scandal. And We Were Liars is set on an island off the coast of Massachusetts. And Chappaquiddick is a little island that's kind of linked to Martha's Vineyard. And so the way that a kind of American royalty family has its darkest secrets uncovered by a big tragedy, right? That Chappaquiddick story, it's not the twist in We Were Liars. You won't
Yeah.
see it anywhere in We Were Liars, but that idea that the family is like that, it's an American royal family in my story, and
Yeah.
its darkest secrets come to light. So.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. It was lovely. I'm excited for everybody to get to see this adaptation, and I personally can't wait to watch it again. So, thank you again.
Thank you so much.